Hey there, everybody. And now we are live over here on the Facebook, YouTube side of things. Hope all of you are doing well today. Keep forgetting I'm in Texas now. I hope all of y'all are doing well today from all over the world, wherever you are. This is Dr. G at Goodbye Lupus. It's good to see all of you here ready to go. It's my pleasure to be here with you as always now. I can say as always now after we've been doing this for a couple months now, right? So as of the other times, I'm here to answer your questions about health and wellness and nutrition. I cannot substitute for being your doctor because I actually can't see you the way you can see me right now. And I can't give you medical advice, but I can give you the best advice possible to help you along your wellness journey and hopefully get you to the point that you get to say goodbye to disease the way I said goodbye to lupus. And did you guys see my flying video? I went flying. It was my birthday on Saturday. I'm officially 46 years old. And as my dad was happy to remind me, now closer to 50 than 40. But 30 years since they told me I had 6 months to live. And I am here and I am well. And it makes me so excited to just wake up every day feeling good and have the opportunity to give that back. That is what I live for. And the idea of being able to help people was what got me through my illness, and getting to live into that dream now and on a greater level than I ever imagined just gives me so much happiness on a daily basis. So as difficult as it is to squeeze this hour into my day, I'm glad that I've been able to do it so that I can give back to all of you guys. I promised a lesson of the day. Today, I just had a good one. I just got off the line with a new person who enrolled in my 4-week rapid recovery program. So these poor souls decide to work with me every single day to get my feedback and support and coaching on a daily basis for a full month. And what we just talked about in our first meeting today was about how I needed to reprogram some of her malware, as I called it. So the hardest part about changing your diet is actually not the diet. It's what's between your ears up here. That's the hard part right there. That's where all the work is. That's why I wrote Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, right? Goodbye Lupus tells you what to do. It's this thing. Like you can read it in a day. Goodbye Autoimmune Disease. It's all about like how to fix this so that you could just do what the first book said, right? So we were talking about the reason she went off plan because she actually met with me in 2018 with lupus and fatigue and brain fog. And after one meeting with me, she followed the advice I gave her and she reversed her disease, brain fog gone, and her labs went back to normal, so much so that her doctor couldn't figure out, like, he's like, I don't know what this is, but you don't have lupus, right? Amazing, right? But went back to her old ways for a lot of different reasons, junk food, fast food, and brain fog is back and she's not feeling well, right? So what we realize now is she needs my help removing the malware. Like, why would you ever go back if you found the path to feeling amazing, right? So one of the malware parts that I already found in the first meeting was that one of the reasons she goes off plan is because she likes to be nice to people. And she feels like, for example, if eating a vegan Thanksgiving, that she's making her family suffer because of her health, that they don't get to eat the things that they love and all the traditional foods because she's sick. And so therefore she doesn't eat it either. And what I wanted to understand is like, that's not real. I said, do you think I'm nice? She paused, actually. She goes, you're assertive. I said, listen, this is what being nice is. Being nice means that you are caring and empathic towards other people. And you act in a way that's kind, right? I'm actually really nice. Being nice does not mean that you put your own health and values at risk in order to be accommodating to other people. That's not nice. That's poor self-esteem, that's damaging. So I am nice, but I still maintain the same ethics, the same morals, and the same behaviors, no matter who it is. So I gave her an example of me being nice where somebody gave me a floral arrangement that was all fruit, but they got the chocolate covered kind. So I thanked her effusively for the gift. Thank you so much. She goes, well, did you enjoy it? I said, there was milk chocolate on there, so I didn't get to eat it, but I gave it as a gift to my kids' teachers and they loved it. And you get full credit for the gift. It was amazing. Thank you for thinking of us. We love you. And she felt sheepish that she forgot about the chocolate, but we all laughed about it, smiled about it. She's still a good friend, right? I'm gracious and I'm kind, but I'm not going to change my values to be accommodating to someone, especially if someone gets you a gift, they want you to be happy, right? So you can be kind, but not. So I changed. So I pulled out the malware of being nice equals doing things that are bad for you to I am overly accommodating to the point of hurting my own health. I said, how does it feel to say it that way? She goes, ooh, that feels like something I want to change. I said, exactly. If you think of yourself as nice, nobody wants to change being nice. So therefore you're going to stay sick. But if you think instead that I'm not being nice, but I'm being over accommodating in a way that puts my own health at risk, that sounds like malware that we need to remove. So if you are under the belief or you're telling yourself that you can't be a nice person and still do what's right for your health, I want you to also realize that that is malware and we need to fix the programming there. And remember that you can be nice to others while still being nice to yourself, but still valuing yourself. And that is the best thing for you. It's the best thing for them too. So that's my lesson for the day. All right, let's get over. And yeah, Instagram, why does it keep pausing? Let me see. I don't know why it would do that, but let me look over and make sure that all the settings are good. Hold on. Let's see. What am I connected to? That's why. All right, let's see if that works better for you, Instagram. Sorry, you guys have been having trouble lately, but I think that fixed it. So let me know. Thanks for people flagging me about that. All right, let's start over here on the YouTube side of things, since you guys are seeing me well, hopefully. Okay. All right. So player wants to know, does protocol help with chilblains? I'm doing the GAIP for 2 months now. This is a Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol. Thanks for your help. I have definitely seen chilblains improve. Usually not first though. I've seen other things get better first, but I have definitely seen it improve. All right, let's look over to Facebook. Okay, Janos wants to know, I'm about to start the lupus protocol, the Goodbye Lupus protocol. I'd like to know if I can eat fruit, only if it's fresh, or if I can eat dried fruit, date syrup, drink fruit juice, compote, fruit puree, etc. as well. If you're trying to do the Goodbye Lupus protocol, then you really want to stick with fresh fruit. And remember that fruit is really there as a flavoring, not as a meal. So what you want to do is keep it to 25% or less of your diet. Use it for flavoring. So use it to flavor your smoothie. If you want to chop up fruit into a puree or to dice it up and put that on top of a salad instead of a dressing, that's fine. You're not going to want to do fruit juices. Date syrup, that is just pure sugar. Dried fruit, you're going to overestimate your fruit on that. So one, you're going to get dehydrated, and two, you overestimate it, right? Like think about the size of fresh grapes versus raisins, right? A cup of grapes might be like 10, 15 grapes. Depends on the size of your grape. A cup of raisins could be 100. So it really throws the whole shebang off. And plus there's often added sugar and preservatives and things like that. So just stick with the fresh fruit and you'll be golden. And hopefully you do well and I hear good news back from you. All right, let's see here. All right. Hey, Jennifer, welcome. The Goodbye Lupus protocol. Good thing that you're here. Make sure you go to goodbyelupus.com and you can download the free gifts. That'll be a good place to get you started. On Facebook, if you're on my Goodbye Lupus Facebook page, click at the very top where the banner is at the top. There's a place that says learn more, and there's a whole bunch of links. There's a link tree that can give you all the resources you need. Welcome. If you need it, you're in the right place, and I'm just grateful you're here. That's why I'm here right now, is for you. So glad you're here. All right, Instagram, is it better now? We flowing well now? Hopefully. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can. All right, let's get to the questions. I have to scroll a bit, sorry. All right. Hello, everybody. Let's see. Wow, you posted questions on YouTube and on Instagram. I like how people are trying to get themselves loaded on both times. Thank you, Carolyn. All right, let's see. Oh, I have a bunch of you that are in both spots. Oh, thanks for the happy birthday wishes. All right. All right. So on Instagram, question is, NMG can protocol help endometriosis? Yes. I have actually had a friend with endometriosis who did this protocol. We were in the same baby group, and for my son Solomon, actually, and she ended up confiding me that she was going to get a hysterectomy because she had severe endometriosis, just like her mother and her aunt, and both of them had their uterus removed. and she switched to a nourishing, hyper-nourishing plant-based diet, and it went away. And she still has a uterus, and she had another kid. So she used the uterus again, and it was effective. So, all right, let's see here. Back up to YouTube. Thanks for the birthday wishes, everybody. Okay, so I saw this on Facebook first, so let me answer it. So Carrie wants to know, I'm doing the Goodbye Lupus protocol. How will I know when it's cured? And called the Goodbye Lupus protocol because it's not just the lupus protocol, right? So if you're looking for full disease reversal, then you want to, number one, make sure that the symptoms are gone, right? So how did you know you were sick to begin with? It was the symptoms first for most people. Most people, it wasn't a set of labs that were drawn. The labs were drawn to confirm it. So the symptoms were first, right? So for a lot of people, that was joint pain, rashes, fatigue, brain fog, fevers. So whatever those symptoms are, we're going to look for those symptoms to get better. Step one, and the most important step, right? How you feel is the most important thing for your health, no matter what, right? The second step would be to have the labs be reversed. So there's stages of reversal, right? So if you're going back in time and reversing damage, the symptoms will get better and the labs will then follow. When the labs follow is very variable. I've seen people whose labs are completely reversed within a matter of weeks, and I've seen people whose labs take longer, especially people who chose a step-down approach once the symptoms went away. The labs, I worry about less because what really matters is that you feel great and then the labs follow. But usually the labs are quick to follow afterwards. And which labs you follow depends on which ones were positive for you. Some of you might have noticed that you have the same diagnoses, but you don't have the same labs that are positive. Some people somehow will have negative dsDNA antibodies or negative other antibody, SMP, something, where other people have it positive. Some people somehow will have negative ESR or CRP for inflammation markers, even though they're sick. So whichever markers tend to be positive for you are the ones that you're going to track to make sure they go to negative again. If you have Hashimoto's, you're going to be looking at the thyroid antibody markers, right? For lupus, you'll be looking at different markers. Scleroderma or Sjogren's, there's different markers. So whatever markers tend to be positive for you. Now, when your markers are negative and you have no symptoms, then you are healthy and your disease has been reversed, right? That's how you know. There are some doctors out there, and it always kind of freaks me out a bit, who will diagnose you with imaginary illnesses. And I made a whole video about this, how they'll say, I know you have no signs of disease, no symptoms of disease, and no labs for disease, but since they're incurable, you must still have it, right? Trying to make what you see fit into what you believe. But I believe in, believing what you see. So when all of those things are reversed, that's a very good time that you can say, yes, my disease has been reversed now. So that's how you know. For most folks, that's when they also talk to their doctors about coming off of meds if they haven't already. A lot of times the doctors will already start tapering you once things are getting better. But other doctors will say, whatever's working, keep it the same. And you might have to negotiate and talk to them, but definitely talk to them. Do not do those things on your own because it can put you at risk. The withdrawal from medicines that are used in autoimmune disease can often create inflammation and disease as well. So you have to be very careful about how they taper you and make sure they're involved in that. But that is how you know. And I look forward to hearing from when you've done it as well. All right. Okay. Let me see here. I wanted to get to, here we go. Let's go to a YouTuber. All right. Let's see. Simone or Simon, I'm not sure. How important the exercise and how much is recommended during healing and healthy life? All right, different question. And I like that. So exercise. All right. Well, exercise, you really want to do as much as you can, right? So a lot of folks, when they first come to me, they have so much arthritis pain and they're so weak and tired, they can't really do much. In those cases, we work more on soothing self-care, social self-care, and as much movement as you can do. Maybe it might be stretching at first, or maybe a gentle walk. Maybe it's just moving up around your house. I had someone in my very first group who started exercising with fruit, and it started out with like plums and then apples and then melons, right? As she got stronger. So in the beginning, it's really whatever you can do as much as you can. As you get stronger and able to, the best type of exercise for health and recovery is high intensity interval training. Now you can do that as a type of cardio, like on a spin bike where you go fast for 10, 15 seconds and then back to a regular rate. versus, or a rate that you can sustain, for 20, 30 minutes, versus doing high intensity interval training for weights, where maybe you work out your upper body, maybe you do some chest, and then you take a break from chest by doing squats. And then you take a break from squats by doing chest. So therefore, you are constantly keeping your heart moving, right? Because you're not taking a break from movement, but you're resting one body part, then resting the other body part. So interval training for weights is really nice. And I've always preferred that to cardio, just in terms of fun for me. So anything that really gets that heartbeat going, that makes you sweat, that makes you feel like you had a good workout, that is going to be really good for you in multiple ways. One, it's really good for your mental health. You're going to get those endorphins that make you feel great, dopamine and norepinephrine, all the wonderful, wonderful endorphins that have proven to be more effective from exercise than through medications. So for all those people who say, I would never take medicines, well, where are you getting your dopamine and norepinephrine? Get that exercise in, and that'll be good for you, right? Number two, when you get significant amounts of those endorphins, not only is it good for mental health, but it decreases cravings. Because if you are getting your dopamine from exercise, you're not going to crave it from food. So that's a really good way to stop the cravings and to feel really at ease with your diet. You can eat whatever because you're already nourished emotionally from your food. And the other reason why it's really, really good for the healing space is you are eating the most nutrient-dense foods possible if you're doing the good autoimmune disease protocol, right? You're eating the most nutrient foods that you can possibly eat. So if you want to get those nutrients to every organ, if you can get your heart rate up and your heart is pounding harder, you're going to push those nutrients into the smallest blood vessels you've got. Some of you have Raynaud's and need it to go into these little blood vessels here at the tips of your fingers. Some of you have eye disease where you need it to get in the tiny little blood vessels in your eyes, right? So wherever it is that you need your nutrients delivered to, if you can get your heart rate up, that's going to deliver it faster and more efficiently. Okay. So if you can exercise, it's only going to benefit. For a healthy life, listen, if you're getting, they've shown benefits from even like 15, 30 minutes a day of exercise. It really depends on what your goals are. But if you can get some movement in every day, you're going to have a healthier and a happier life. And I'm all about both of those things. So I hope that helps you out. All right, let's see. Let's go down to a Facebook question. All right, this is a new one. Once I'm healthy, can I get breast implants without the risk of developing autoimmune disease if I keep hypernourishing? I don't know. Whenever I don't have an answer, I'll say I don't know. Personally, I don't recommend foreign bodies because you do have a higher chance of rejecting a foreign body. A foreign body means you're putting something into your body that is not part of you. So if you can avoid that, you're going to be safer because there's always a chance your body's going to recognize it as an intruder and attack it. And if you have a history of autoimmune disease, to me, I wouldn't risk it. I just wouldn't take the chance. So that's my opinion. Whether or not will happen, I don't know because I've never tested that. I've had people do explant surgery because they were worried that their implants were causing them their autoimmune disease, but I've never seen somebody post-autoimmune recovery actually get them. Usually part of recovery I have people work on is just loving your body, the one you have, and rejoicing in it and the fact that it can get you healthy. And so usually that doesn't lead to other things. So yeah, I don't know. I don't recommend it just because you have exactly the right body and enjoy it. But if you do plan to do it, then definitely get healthy first, because the last thing you want to do if you've already got autoimmune disease is introduce a foreign body and have surgery, both of which can be stressful. Okay, let's see Instagram. All right, Mel B. Franklin, can you heal ovarian cysts and hormonal issues with your protocol? Yes, absolutely. And we've had some really good results with that over the years. One of the first people who did my group was a physician who has had autoimmune disease since she was 8 or 9 years old. And I mean, thyroid, Sjogren's, and she had a mass on her ovaries that they were going to do surgery on. When she was done with the group, she was supposed to get surgery to remove the mass. It was some kind of tumor. And at the end of the 6-week group, they did an ultrasound and it was gone. It went away. So we never found out what it was, but it went bye-bye. We have had people who have had PCOS recover during rapid recovery. So rapid recovery is a program where you do the most intensive form of my protocol. So you do the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol with daily coaching and help from myself and my staff. It's extremely intensive, and it's where we get the most profound and rapid results. So so we've had people reverse PCOS, irregular periods, endometriosis, fibroids, so many things, HPV, cervical dysplasia. So yeah, it definitely can help you regulate your hormones. And people have told me that it's the first time ever that they didn't have painful periods. Menopause symptoms got better. So absolutely. The great thing about doing hypernourishment is it's not specific for disease. It's specific for cellular repair and cellular function. So if you improve cellular function, well, that's going to improve your body in all areas. And that's what's so wonderful about it. Your body just chooses where to start. All right, let's go over to the YouTube area here. All right, let's see. Well, Claudia, I found you. So I am sorry to hear that you've had trouble reaching my office. So send me a personal email, drg@goodbyelupus.com, and give me an all caps subject heading so that you can flag me. But if you have lupus and N-phospholipid syndrome, then this is the right program. I mean, that's what I had. and I had it pretty severely. I had mini strokes from it. So if you're looking, let me just maybe be able to answer your questions now. If you're looking for more information and you're on my Facebook page, click the Learn More area, and there's a link tree. And it has access to all the things, whether you're looking for the free gifts on my Goodbye Lupus page, or you're looking for free recipes or support at Smoothie Shred. If you're looking for an appointment, it'll direct you to goodbyelupus.com. If you're looking for rapid recovery, that's at goodbyelupus.com. So if you're looking for information on how to get started or to work with me, all of it will be there in that link tree, or go to goodbyelupus.com. And if you need more help after that, email me personally at drg@goodbyelupus.com, all caps in the subject, and I'll help you further. But I made that link tree to help people because I know it is hard to reach me now. My inbox just gets overloaded on a daily basis, and I'm doing the best I can to respond to people, but sometimes it takes a while. So if we might be getting back to you, but it might be in a few days or sometimes a week or so. It depends on what's going on. So sorry, but that's why I have that link tree, so that people can access everything they need. And that's why I have the Q&As, in case I can answer more questions in the moment from people who are looking in between. So sorry about that, Claudia, but hopefully that helps you. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see here. Okay. Wanda wants to know, since parsley has iodine, is it okay to put some in our morning smoothie? Sure. I don't know how to quantify it, though. I don't know how much iodine is in there to say if you're getting enough iodine. That I can't tell you. Wondering about spirulina and barley grass juice powder. Can I add it to my morning smoothie? Spirulina is okay. I really recommend, though, in general, not adding other powders. Spirulina, I've tested. Chlorella, I've tested, and they've done well. But in general, I don't really recommend adding any other powders. It's already designed to oversupply nourishment. You're getting hypernourishment. There's no reason to waste your money on other powders and things. Just use the nutrition in the plants, and you're going to get really good results doing that. Right. All right, let's see here. All right. Instagram, your turn. Let's see what you got here. All right. Jane Elizabeth says, every time I start a plant-based diet, my eczema flares up. Is it possible that it's oxalates that's causing a problem for some people? So those are two separate things. So that question comes from something that I call drawing conclusions, right? It sounds like you're having this problem and you're trying to figure out what the problem is being caused by. And then maybe you read something about oxalates and then you made a decision that maybe it's oxalates, but there's not really a connection there. So let's just take those things out. So I'm going to change this question to, what's a possible reason that my eczema flares up when I start a plant-based diet? All right, so let's look at it that way. So I don't know your particular case. What I can say is that eczema improves on our plan. We actually just had somebody post in our Smoothie Shred group. So for any of you guys who actually have Facebook pages, those of us who are over 40, of course, but maybe some of you younger folks have it. We have a free community called Smoothie Shred. If you go to smoothieshred.com, there's a link to join our group there if you want to. And people will post their questions and support for each other and also their results. And we just had somebody over the weekend post a photo of her eczema going away completely using our protocol. So you can see just those are people, most of the people in Smoothie Shred we've never worked with. They're just people who are fans who are trying to do our program and they wanted a community and we created that space for them. There's other people online who have created groups and communities that have my name on it, but it's not me and it's not mine. Our community doesn't even have my name on it. It's called Smoothie Shred. So that's our community. But it's a really great place. And people post their results in there all the time. And I usually, if I see them, I'll pin them to the announcements at the top. But I often don't even, by the time I log in, usually there's been so many that I'll even miss them. But it definitely improves. So if it improves, why aren't you improving? That's the question. So number one, is it that you're going through a detox phase? So oftentimes when people switch to plant-based, after about 3-4 days, they might go through a detox period where their symptoms actually get worse. And if they don't understand that it's detox, they'll quit right there. They'll say, oh, I'm getting worse, and they'll just quit. Meanwhile, that was the beginning of the healing process. So that's really important, is to make sure you're not quitting right as you're starting to heal. And I've seen people abort detox so many times. And then when they work with me in rapid recovery, they'll get that symptom. I'll go, keep going. Don't quit. Keep going. And in a few more days, it actually starts to fade away. And then the great health comes on the other side of it. So it could be a detox period. 2, it could be something else. It might be some of the foods you're switching over to could be triggering you in some way. So maybe when you go from your usual diet to plant-based, you're adding in a food that you're sensitive to that you were not aware of because you don't normally eat it. So I'd also be looking at, is there any new food that you've introduced that is different than your normal intake? And maybe that's causing you to have some kind of symptoms. So I would look at, am I eating something that's like an unusual ingredient for me? This maybe I'm allergic to and I didn't know about it. Also, I don't know when you say plant-based, if you're doing the Goodbye Lupus protocol, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol, hypernourishment protocol, or you're just doing like beans and potatoes. So also make sure that you're actually using a hypernourishing plant-based diet, or even moving up to one of my more aggressive protocols to see if you can fully reverse it. And then see what happens. And if in the first week, it looks like it's getting worse, make sure that there's not something you're reacting to. And if not, then give it another week or 2 and see if that subsides and there's recovery on the other side of it. Very common thing that people have. All right, let's see here. Okay. All right, another question. So Vanessa, I'm in the process of the Goodbye Lupus protocol. So you can always write GLP. That way I know what you're doing. GLP will be Goodbye Lupus protocol. But since I started the green smoothies, I've been having a lot of gases and inflammation. What am I doing wrong? Okay. So again, there's one conclusion is that may not be true, is 1, whether or not you're having inflammation, 2, whether or not you're doing anything wrong. Okay. Having gas, pretty common in the beginning, pretty common. You're adding a whole lot of fiber and produce into a bowel that's not used to it. And if it's too much at once, especially, you might have a lot of gurgling and bubbling and even maybe some fermenting from some anaerobic bacteria and party, right? Okay. So pretty normal that happens from folks. What do you do about it? 1, you can check your ingredients. Okay. People are different that way. Some people find they can easily consume a smoothie made with all cabbage. Somebody else posted in Smoothie Shred yesterday. Not me. I was so gassy, almost exploded. Can't do cabbage. All right. Other people find they do well on spinach or kale or chard. So you might want to just try different ingredients, see if you can identify what the ingredient was. Surprisingly, for a lot of folks, gassiness is often related to their fruit choices. So if they do a green smoothie with no fruit, they're actually fine. But when they throw in pineapple or apples or something, suddenly they're gassy. Check it out, try it out, see if maybe that's the cause. Another reason people can be overly gassy, again, some gas is going to be normal because your gut needs to adjust to this, and that's going to take a little time or maybe a couple months at least, right? But if you're overly painfully gassy, another thing to consider would be spreading out your dosage. So sometimes people have too much at once. They'll slam down a big thing of smoothie and then gurgle, 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 and they're feeling pain. So another thing you can do is you can take that big amount of smoothie, break it up into small cups, maybe like 5 or 6 cups, and have a cup of it every couple hours So you have time to digest smaller amounts of it rather than kind of a huge load of it in your belly. And that might make a difference. The part that I can't answer is you said more inflammation. And I don't know what you mean by that. As soon as people diagnose things, I no longer know what they're referring to. So inflammation, you're diagnosing yourself, but you didn't say what the symptom was. So do you mean that you have more pain? Do you mean that you have more rashes? Do you mean that your gut just feels inflamed? Like, I don't know what you mean by that. What I can say is that if you're on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, inflammation is going down, because that's what it does. That's cellular biology, right? It brings inflammation down. So the inflammation's not going up, but I don't know what the symptom is. So for all of you guys who are posting things, make sure that if you're asking me a question, that you actually say the specific symptom you're experiencing, like pain or bloating or rashes, rather than what you think the symptom is coming from, like it's coming from inflammation or a flare or so and so, because I don't know if the diagnosis you're giving yourself is correct, and I don't know by what you're calling it what the symptom is. So I can say it's anti-inflammatory, so inflammation is coming down. If what you mean is some of your symptoms increase, well, then refer back to the detox message I gave in the last question. And hopefully at least I helped you with the gas problem by answering that here. Okay, let's see. Okay, Priscilla wants to know, question about smoothie and levothyroxine. Does the high amount of minerals affect absorption? Should we be waiting 4 hours? So you want to take your thyroid medicine as prescribed. So most people are prescribed to take their medicine on an empty stomach, and that's fine. Most folks that I know will take it like as soon as they wake up. It's at their bedside table so that they can take it. And then while they're getting ready, that'll be their stomach wait time. And then they'll have their food when they're ready for it. I've even known people to wake up, set an alarm to wake up, take that, and then go back to sleep so that when they wake up, they can eat however you want to do it. Follow the instructions. The one thing that I would say is, you're welcome to use, salt on your foods and everything, especially your cruciferous. If it tastes good, you can do that. But for those of you who are using iodized salt as your form of iodine, do make sure that you are getting the full dose of your iodine, some of it outside of your vegetables. So or your high nutrient vegetables, the cruciferous vegetables. So if you have it with your spinach or you have it with guacamole, that's okay. But most people don't have a problem about this at all. But every once in a while, I'll see someone who's struggling with their TSH, and it helps them to get their iodine separate from their cruciferous vegetables just to maximize absorption. Those of you with Hashimoto's do need to have 300 micrograms a day as your minimum iodine intake. So just be aware of that. Okay, Insta. Let's see what you guys are asking me. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So Sonia Jewel, I just started the protocol. So many questions. Can I have quinoa, hummus, used olive oil? What's used olive oil? Vinegar. How long did it take for you to get rid of your proteinuria? So first of all, welcome. And I'm glad that you're doing this. I'm excited for you. It's always exciting to have somebody new who's starting this, who's going to be getting healthy soon. So my first question back for you really is, it depends on which protocol you're doing. So if you're talking about hypernourishment protocol, you can eat any of those things and hypernourish, because hypernourishment is really about what you're adding, not about the rest of your foods, right? So if you're doing the hypernourishment protocol, then eating other plant-based foods, you could get away with those things. Now, if you're trying to do the Goodbye Lupus protocol, then I would take those things out. The Goodbye Lupus protocol is when you're focusing your diet just on the nutrients used for healing, and you take out anything that can hold you back. So take out the olive oil, take out the hummus, take out the quinoa. You can use vinegar, you can use flax oil, but you're going to take out any of the other foods that could be interfering with recovery, and you're going to stick with the foods that your body uses for cellular repair and getting the immune system working. As far as my proteinuria, I don't know the day it went away. So backstory, having lupus for 12 years and being as severe as I was, my doctors actually routinely tested me for everything. All my antibodies, my kidney function, everything was tested every month from 16 to 28. I was tested every month because they were scared of me, my doctors. So when I moved to do my residency in California, I had to get new doctors. And so I had a new doctor established. And then very soon after I got there, my rheumatologist retired, referred me to a new guy. And suddenly there was like a 3-month gap between my 2 visits, which is actually pretty good for rheumatologists nowadays, right? A lot of you guys tell me you have to wait a year to get a rheumatology visit. Better than me, right? I can see people sooner than that. So anyway, so it was a 3-month gap. So I actually don't know the day my proteinuria went away. I do know that I had proteinuria for 12 years because I was diagnosed in stage 4 kidney failure. The chemotherapy and the steroids stabilized my kidneys and I improved my function, but I had proteinuria and I was told I would have it for life because my kidneys were damaged and scarred. But when I had that, during that 3-month period between labs was when I started my protocol. And when I went back to the new doctor and had my labs drawn, they were negative for everything. I had no proteinuria. My GFR was over 100. I had no lupus antibodies. ANA was negative. Complement. I had no sign of lupus, to the point that the rheumatologist that I got referred to said to the medical student, this woman alleges to have lupus, but we can't find it, because he reran the labs and they were still negative. And he finally fired me because he's like, I don't know why you come here. So especially when I stopped medicines, I stopped medicines a year later because everyone was afraid to take me off of them. But finally, I decided to stop giving myself injections for blood thinners when I didn't have clotting antibodies. So sometime between that 3-month period is when it went away. In my experience with working people now, in rapid recovery, I see proteinuria disappear within the 6 weeks for many people, especially if they're in stage 1 or stage 2 nephritis. For people who are obviously stage 4, 5 that are very severe, oftentimes it'll improve dramatically, but still be there. So it really just depends. There could be some proteinuria that sticks around if somebody has scar tissue for real, not like the kind that they thought I had. But if you've been in stage 5 kidney failure for a decade, there's a good chance that if your GFR right now is 10, you're not going to go back to 100. And there's some scar tissue where you might have some proteinuria that continues. But for people that have new or early kidney failure, usually it's gone within 1 month, 2 months. And the cool thing about kidney function is we can usually see an improvement every week on the labs because they soak in that nutrition really quickly, as long as everything else is in line. The people I see struggle with recovery are the ones who they're eating on plan, but they haven't gotten the sleep they need. They have a lot of trauma and they're not fully recovered from their trauma and all their stress in their life. And so I always tell people that kidneys are really your check engine light. When your kidneys are compromised, they will go down for any severe issue that you have, whether it's stress, poor sleep, or even an infection, a medication, it can drop it. So I like to look at the kidney as the barometer for people who are in the healing process. And as long as your kidneys are getting better, you're going in the right direction. But for many people, that's one that goes away fairly quickly. And for me, even after 12 years, I have perfectly normal kidneys at 46, and I was in stage 4 kidney failure at 16. So 30 years later, and they came back. So I have Franken kidneys. They came back to life. Although they're mine, no Frankenstein parts. All right, let's see here over to YouTube and Facebook. Let's see here. Okay. For those of you talking about a water fast, I actually just posted a video about that on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram to help you guys understand why it is not as good as hypernourishment. Can help you with a reset, but I do not recommend it as your go-to. So since I just posted that 2 days ago, I'll refer you back to the page for that. Okay, let's see here. Facebook, I am following the Goodbye Lupus protocol with lupus nephritis. Good, I'm glad you're doing that. I'm doing 8 ounces of kale, 8 ounces of cabbage, 8 ounces of cauliflower, half a cup of chia, and water. Is this enough to eat? Well, I don't know how much water you're drinking, but you are off to a good start. You are definitely having enough to meet the plan as long as your water intake is enough. I don't know what your water intake is, so you didn't write it down. With nephritis, sometimes you'll be put on water restriction if your kidneys can't tolerate it. So do be careful. If you're on water restriction, listen to your doctor about the water restriction amount. If you're not on water restriction and you're allowed to drink more water, make sure that you're hitting the water requirements as well. That is the minimum amounts that I've seen create really, really fast recovery in people with kidney issues. please make sure you're getting weekly labs at first to make sure your potassium and sodium are where they need to be. Because if you've got nephritis, your kidneys might not be able to handle the full protocol. Usually when people have especially severe kidney failure, I recommend you work with me because I will monitor your dose of nutrition and then look at your labs so we can make sure that your kidneys can actually process the nutrition. You might not be able to start at the full protocol. You might have to start at a modified version until your kidneys are able to handle that, right? I just met with somebody today who she's seeing me for serial appointments. She signed up to be in my group, but she doesn't understand technology. So I was like, don't do the group. You're just going to be frustrated and angry. And we took her deposit. We turned it into a series of appointments instead because it's better. She needs, and not FaceTime her. Zoom is no. So we FaceTime each other. And she has nephritis. And we've only been seeing each other 2 weeks. And her BUN went from 40 to 15. Her creatinine is now only 0.11 over the normal range. And she's a woman in her 60s and her kidneys are healing, right? But I started her at a lower dose of nutrition. Actually, I started at 10 ounces of high nutrient because I didn't know what her potassium was going to do. And I'm not messing around. I do not, because if your potassium goes too high, you can hurt your heart. All right. If your water is too high, you can have a seizure. Like you can't mess with these things. So if your kidneys, you have some proteinuria, you have some kidney issues, but they're functioning normally, you can go full out. If they're not functioning normally, you might need to go slower. So just be careful is the point. Make sure you're getting those labs regularly. And if you need help to do it, use me. When it comes, as much as free content I try to give folks, if your organs are failing, it's a good time to work with me so that you get it right and we preserve your organ function. You just don't want to make a mistake or lose more organ function. So if it's working for you, great. Keep it up and let me know how you're doing. Okay. Tag me in your celebration post. If you're struggling, work with me. We have a group starting March 17th. My next rapid recovery group is March 17th. It's half full already, but we still have spots. So that would be a great idea for anybody who's currently having any organ failure. We've had great results in reversing lung disease, kidney disease, glaucoma, autoimmune disease, diabetes. I mean, it's a really great place. Heart disease. It's a really great place to be for people who want to do the most aggressive rapid approach or for people who have organ failure who really don't have a choice and have to do the most aggressive approach. But on paper, those numbers are good. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's see. Okay, here's one. So YouTube, should I be drinking a full blender if I'm just maintaining my health? That's up to you. So it's a great idea. I mean, the more you consume that blender, that smoothie, the better it is for your overall health, right? You're literally giving yourself a daily dosage of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, omega-3s, and hydration that optimizes cellular repair, cellular function, and immune function. It's a pretty good idea to have that every day, right? I mean, why not? I don't need to have that much every day. I am so healthy now, but I still do it. I still hypernourished. Why? Because it keeps me this healthy. I want to keep feeling this great. I want to be disease proof. Whether it's autoimmune disease or infections, I don't want to have it. I like the fact that it slowed down the aging process. Good, I'll take it. I like that I get to have a lot of energy in my 40s when most people are saying, oh, that's when they're losing their energy. And if they get on the ground, they can't get back up again. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't feel that, right? So I love that I went from the sickest person in the room as a teenager to the healthiest person in the room at 46. That's pretty cool. I like that. And it's because I've continued hypernourishing. So you don't necessarily need it if you're maintaining your health. You could probably get away with less, but if you don't mind it and you can enjoy it and you can keep that in your life, you're going to optimize health. And that's really one of the next step. You go from trying to reverse disease to just maintaining optimal disease or health. And that's really the goal. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. All right, let me see. Okay, Instagram. Let's see what you got for me. I already answered that from somebody else. Okay, so Tracy Johnson, my daughter's 16 and she has Hashimoto's. diagnosed by a rheumatologist, awaiting endo appointment. She's already plant-based, but eats processed food. Starting back green smoothies, what else can we do? So my protocol has worked very effectively for reversing Hashimoto's. If you want to take it stepwise, start with hypernourishment and whole food plant-based, right? Unprocessed plant-based. That might be enough. She's 16 years old. If we get rid of the junk and get the hypernourishment in, it might be enough. And what I would do is I would track her antibodies, right? So we want to see those antibodies go away. If that's not enough, then you progress more into the Goodbye Lupus protocol. And you do a more strict program until the antibodies are gone, and then you add back in the unprocessed plant foods. And really talk to her about it a lot. One of the most important things you can do with your kids is conversations. And you talk to them in such a way that they make the decision, but it's the decision you know that they should make. My mother did it to me, and I do it to my kids. We have conversations about everything, and they decide what's right based off of the great information that I share with them. I let them think and learn and decide. And so you want to really have those conversations so that she's not just doing it because you're making her, but she has her why, and she knows what she's working for, and she's all aboard and excited to do it too. And then do it with her, because it's only going to make your health better too, and make it an adventure where you guys are eating really well and maybe doing fun self-care treats on the weekend to reward yourselves for doing well. And maybe it can be a beautiful time to get closer to each other. Okay, let's see here. All right. Oh my God, my heart rate just went up. Chrissy, hi, Dr. G. I'm working with my doctor to bring up my iron levels. I haven't changed after 6 weeks on a supplement, so she wants me to eat beef. Gah! That's what she wrote. Gah. Any suggestions? I have kidney disease, PKD. So first of all, okay, there's so many things that I have to pick apart here. Number one, never, ever, ever eat meat with kidney disease. That is a guaranteed way to cause damage to your kidneys. And that's not just coming from a fringe weird doctor that specializes in the impact of nutrition on cellular function. I know that that's not mainstream. I'm in my own stream. I get that. But mainstream nephrology, PubMed, mainstream nephrology, they have studied the impact of different foods on kidney failure. And they have found over and over again that meat directly and instantly damages the kidney. In one day, they can see an increase in creatinine and a decrease in GFR from eating any animal foods, meat, dairy, eggs, any of them. Right. And unfortunately, and this is where it was really a disservice to the doctors and to the patients who have to listen to those doctors, the conclusion of the study was political. Instead of saying we have found that eating any meat products and dairy products instantly harms kidney function in people with kidney disease, instead it said doctors should recommend a low protein diet to people with kidney failure. What the heck does that mean? Protein's not a food, right? So what that now is open to interpretation, and some doctors will actually say avoid meat and dairy, not usually, and others will say, I don't know, maybe just eat some eggs or maybe just eat less. They don't know what it means, all right? But here's the thing. They actually tested this. They tested kidney failure using plant foods rich in protein like tofu and edamame, and what they found was there was zero change in GFR creatinine levels, zero damage. So it's not protein that damages kidneys. It's animal products that damages kidneys. So since they have never, and again, I think this is a political thing, they've never clearly come out and said the American Board of Nephrology recommends that anybody with any kidney issue avoids all animal products, because they have never said that. It's open to interpretation. And some nephrologists have even told people, oh, your blood protein's low, you should eat some meat. And meanwhile, they're just causing faster kidney failure. So no, do not eat beef. That terrifies you. That's what got me like this. When I saw the question, I saw you had a kidney problem. No. All right. So that's one problem. The second problem is this old nutrition mythology that you cannot relieve anemia or iron deficiency without eating meat. That's nonsense. All right. Absolutely not true. I have seen plenty of people with anemia that completely reverse back to normal, and there was no meat at all in their diet. Okay. Especially, it's me, right? So no, that's not the issue. So if your iron levels are so low that it is urgent, you are having anemia, and the supplement didn't work, the best thing to go to is an infusion. So talk to your doctor about actually getting an iron infusion, because we got to get the iron levels up. You need blood. So even if a plant-based diet could heal the cause, and I don't know why you're iron deficient, and since we're not in a session, I can't investigate it to find out, right? But one, I would be doing really healthy eating, my protocol to heal whatever's causing the problem, if possible. But urgently in the moment, if you need the iron, I would then direct you more towards an iron infusion, or to at least talk to your doctor about something like that to see if you can get those numbers fixed, but that you're not going to eat animals, because that'll damage your kidneys, right? The other thing is you can eat more iron-rich foods. So there are plenty of plant foods that are very high in iron that work well. Spinach is one of them. If you're eating cooked food, things like beans, I believe also tofu. So there's plenty. If you look up like iron-rich plant foods, you'll find plenty of them. And yes, you can absorb it very well from plant foods, or else everyone who did my program would be anemic. I'd be anemic. You'd be anemic. We'd all be anemic. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, you're just working with someone that has been trained in all the nutrition mythology that most of us were. I had to wake up from the matrix to be able to teach what I do. And some of them are going to, live in the matrix forever, and there's nothing we can do. But do not listen to this. Do not listen to this. It will be, not only will it not be good for whatever's causing the anemia, but it would highly put you in danger of kidney failure. So don't do it. All right. Good questions. There's a lot of new questions today. Let me see. All right. Drinking pressure is real. How to not. So I'm assuming you mean alcohol. And I've actually seen a couple questions about alcohol today, which people don't normally ask me about. Is there something coming up? Do we have an alcohol drinking holiday coming up? Let's see. It's Valentine's Day. Is St. Patrick's Day coming up? There's something coming up where everyone's asking about alcohol. There's a few layers to this. One is that if you have decided that you don't want to drink alcohol, you need to tell the people that you normally drink with that you're not going to drink alcohol. Because if you're someone who's normally partying and you're not partying, then they're going to be like, what's up? Hey, come on, have a drink, right? They're just like, join the fun, right? So one of the most important things to do if you're going to stop drinking alcohol, or you're going to stop eating meat or dairy, is to let people know who you typically interact with and eat and drink with that you are actually not drinking right now, or not eating those foods right now. You could use this interchangeably for changing your diet or not drinking. Let people know. If you don't tell them, they're not going to be supportive, not because they're unwilling to be supportive, but because they don't understand it, right? So if you say, hey, listen, I'm going dry, and it's up to you how much you want to explain it. Whether you're changing your diet or whether you're not drinking, it's really up to you how much you want to share that with the world. Whether you want to say I'm trying to get my health back, or whether you're whatever you want to call it, a cleanse. It's up to you how much you want to share, but you are allowed to make these choices for yourself and to live your life the way you want to. So number one, explain it to people ahead of time and let them know specifically, please do not offer it to me. Please do not encourage me to drink or eat junk if you're listening for food, because this is really important to me. And I need your support. And for support, I need you to keep that away from me. Okay. So that's number one. You've got to let people know. Number two, you've got to be committed to it, right? That if this is something you want for yourself, it doesn't matter what people say or what people do. This is who you are. This is what you do, right? When my husband and I first did all this, and that led to my great health, we weren't drinking or anything either, right? We were eating super, super healthy, and we were living really healthy. And there was a nurse who worked for me who used to have the best karaoke parties, and they were BYOB and BYOF, bring your own food and drinks. And he would just host it, and we would all sing all night, and it was so fun. So fun. So my husband and I would go, and we would bring iced tea, and we would bring unsweetened, and we would bring our veggie platters, and we would sing our butts off, and we had a great time. Everybody else had alcohol and cupcakes and cookies and junk, and we just didn't eat them. And they called us the healthy couple, and they loved us just as much as anybody else, right? Because we were fun. We had a great time. And we just didn't eat what they ate. So what? We were also known as the fit couple. So it didn't matter. We were there for the fun. So people who love you will love you, and you don't have to drink. So bring your own stuff and let them know ahead of time. But most of all, be committed. Be committed before you walk in there that no matter what anybody does or says, I'm not going to do it. Now, if you have an addiction and you can't do that, you might need to stop hanging around in those situations for a bit. Whether it's food addiction or whether it's alcohol, it's very hard in the early stages to be around the thing you're addicted to and give into it. I was just talking to a rapid recovery person about this, that, at least if you're trying to stay clean from drugs, nobody's offering a cocaine tray at Costco, right? But they're sure are offering all this junk to you when you're trying to get healthy, right? It's very hard when you're a food addict, and it's hard with alcohol too, because people celebrate with alcohol in every holiday, funeral, right? So it might be, if you're really struggling with your ability to say no, that you take a break from it and you meet up with your friends in other places where there isn't alcohol. You meet up with them for a hike. You meet up with them to go to a museum. You meet up with them to have some tea somewhere, but you create different situations to hang out with people until the addiction part is over and you feel strong enough to be able to say no when you need to. And if you're really struggling, go to AA, get a sponsor, talk to your doctor, or get a therapist to help you through those parts of it. It's a really important thing that you can do for yourself in your life. Now, for many people, once you're healthy, you can tolerate alcohol in here and there, and it's not going to make you sick. And that's not what we're talking about here, but this is specifically someone saying that they need help with pressure to drink. So I hope that helps you. All right, let's see what Instagram's asking me. All right, we got time. All right, so I don't know how to say this. Iura Ama. Hi, Dr. G. What do I eat after hypernourishment? I'm on my 16th day and already seeing improvement from my scleroderma, although my hypopigmentations are still persisting. Sad face. Okay, first I have to argue with your sad face. You've been adding hypernourishment to your life for 16 days, and scleroderma, which is supposed to be incurable, is already improving. That should be happy face, blowing the horn face, face with the stars in the eyes face. Oh, goodness. People's resistance to celebrating is a disease in and of itself. So first of all, I need you to write, after I'm already seeing improvement in my scleroderma, exclamation point, happy face, happy face, happy face. No, although. No, although. It is a really awesome thing to see improvement that quickly in an autoimmune disease like scleroderma. I've had a lot of people scleroderma do my programs and have reversed things that their doctors told them that they couldn't. There was someone in my last group who had, people with scleroderma also often have the ulcers on their fingertips that won't heal, extraordinarily painful, and there's no cure for it. There is no treatment that helps with it. Those of you who saw David in my classes, right? He had those problems where he had all these open lesions everywhere, and his doctors said the only solution was amputating his fingers, okay? And they're gone ever since he worked with me, and I think it's been like 13 years at this point. Okay, so point is, it works. So there was someone in my last group who had that, and she was in a special research group where they were trying different treatments for these ulcers. And they said, and she was in my rapid recovery group at the same time. And they said, if that works for you, then we're going to learn the protocol and help everyone be on it. She was the only person in the entire research study whose ulcers went away, and they went away within the first 2 weeks. And then she said, do you want to hear about the protocol? And they said, no, but good for you. So anyway, it works really well for scleroderma is the point. And if you working all by yourself without any of my help, besides all of my free content in my books, you've already had improvement within 16 days. You better be doing your best version of somersaults and excited dancing, because that's what's going to get you to keep going. Putting a sad face at the end of a sentence that says 16 days into doing this, I'm getting better. That just makes me sad. All right. So fix that. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Okay. Second part, hypopigmentations. All right. Give it time. It's been 16 days. Like, we'll see if your body can make more pigment or not. And if it can, hallelujah. And if it doesn't, but the scleroderma is gone, hallelujah. Right. So there's no room for sad faces in my world when somebody is reversing their disease successfully. Right. That should be happy faces. So sorry, I had to argue with that. As for the original question, what do I do after hypernourishment? That really depends on what you're trying to do. If you are trying to heal as quickly as possible, do the Goodbye Lupus protocol, which means you only eat the hypernourishing foods and you eat them to fullness all day long. There is no after, right? if you are doing only hypernourishment with a plant-based diet, then you do hypernourishment, right? And then you can add cooked vegetables or quinoa or tofu, other things like that, fruits, vegetables. That would be the other foods. No oils, nothing processed. But if you're trying to be on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, which it sounds to me you need to upgrade to the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol that includes the emotional work, like celebrating and not disqualifying the positives. I think that you need to go all the way to the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol, work on pure hypernourishment with your foods, and really nourishing your spirit and choosing words of celebration for yourself to keep yourself going, amazing self-care, and just see how much results. If you can do that much in 16 days, imagine what's going to happen in another 16 days and after that. So that's my recommendation for what to do next. And congratulations for already making improvement in that terrible disease in a little over 2 weeks. That's super cool, and I'm proud of you for that. Okay. Let me see. All right, Victoria. My question was a pro-natural bodybuilder years ago, and he's concerned he'll lose muscle on this plan. Is that a valid concern? No, it's not a problem. Thankfully, my partner in all of this is someone who's literally written the book on how to build muscle and lose fat on a plant-based diet, Miracle Metabolism. And in his Vegan Body Revolution show, he actually interviewed all the top winning athletes and bodybuilders, plant-based, to see all their tricks and tips. So he doesn't do that podcast anymore, but it's still out there for people who want to learn from it and listen to it. But the bottom line is that the reason people lose muscle is because of inactivity is the biggest reason, undereating, or if they're on something like prednisone or some kind of steroid treatment. So if none of those things are happening, he will preserve muscle. What he will lose in a major way is body fat. Body fat is going to lose. But if he's someone who's fairly healthy and he wants to keep muscle and he's okay with losing body fat, Thomas's book, Miracle Metabolism, is the best one. Because that was Thomas's reason. My husband originally didn't want to be plant-based with me, not because he didn't believe in it. He saw my recovery. He believed in it. But he was already pretty well known as a fitness person. And he's very successful in the fitness world. He had the fastest results with fat loss. He had trained people who were going on MTV. He wrote the fitness programs for the equipment line using The Biggest Loser. Like, he was very well known for fitness. And he was afraid that if he went plant-based, he would lose all of his muscle and he would lose his credibility in fitness. I had a problem with it because you can look beautiful and fit and muscular and still die of a heart attack or colon cancer. So I would rather have a skinny husband than a husband that has those illnesses, right? But it was really important for him to figure it out. And so that's what he did. And he originally, when he first switched, he did lose muscle because he was following other people's plans. He was using vegan meats instead of regular meats, which is actually processed. And so that didn't work. So he created the protocol that worked for him. And he said he can now build muscle faster and more muscle on a plant-based diet than a meat-based diet on half the protein that he needed for a meat-based diet. So I recommend his book, Miracle Metabolism. He writes out the step-by-step guides to how to get the nutrition right and the right exercises combined together to just completely break your own personal records at bodybuilding using only plant-based foods. And you want to know a really funny anecdote about that is when my husband was creating that protocol that's in his book, at the time we had 2 little kids and we'd have to go to the gym. So we had to take turns going to the gym because one of us had to be home with the kids. So I went to the gym after him and I saw this guy and I was wearing like a t-shirt that's something like vegan body, something, you know, probably from Robert Cheek, vegan bodybuilding or whatever. And a guy went up to me and he goes, "I just became vegan." I said, "You did?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "There's this bald guy who comes in every day and every day he's bigger than the day before." And I finally had to say, "Dude, what are you doing?" And he said he was vegan. So I'm vegan now too. And of course the bald guy was my husband. So it really does work. It really does work. And it's so much better for his health. And if you love your husband, you want to keep him forever, like I want to keep mine forever, it's worth it to do it the plant-based way. All right, let's see over here with the Instagram. Let's see. Okay. All right, MGB Keen. I have a friend who has severe MS. She's 58 and losing her ability to see a future. Is it possible to reverse disease as far into her disease? So first of all, I'm sorry that your friend is so sick, and it sounds like becoming hopeless and reaching some despair. It is extremely difficult to live with autoimmune disease, and especially one like MS, where you are losing mobility and ability to interact with the world in the way you did before. I've helped a lot of people with MS, and not just recover function, but even reverse lesions off their MRI. So it is a really effective protocol for that. It does sound like right now, one of the most important things that she can do is also make sure she has the emotional support. She needs to get a therapist who can help her focus on what she has rather than what she feels like she's lost or is losing. It's a really, really important thing. I know for me, when I was sick with lupus, I couldn't do the support groups. They tried to put me in a support group, and it made me feel depressed being there, because all I saw were people who were farther down the road from me in wheelchairs and things. And it just made me scared and depressed for what was coming. So for me, I didn't want to be in support groups for lupus. I wanted to be among people who were succeeding in the world and doing cool things. And so I focused on, all my intellectual pursuits, and I volunteered in hospitals, and I just did whatever I could to feel like a productive member of society rather than a member of a sick group. That's what helped me. So I think she really needs to, number one, have a therapist to help her attach herself to the living and to things that matter to her. She needs to figure out self-care that makes her feel good. I had one person who really struggled in my group who did not listen to me about this, and she lived alone and never left her house. And her thing that she argued with me about was, I will leave my house and do things again when the MS is better. And I'm like, your MS isn't going to get better until you can bring that mood up and get back out of the house again. You have this like irritable depression going on, and you need to be in the world again. So if your favorite thing to do is hike in parks and you can't hike in parks again, okay, there are wheelchair accessible parks. Your job is to find a wheelchair accessible park and get an Uber that has a wheelchair accessible Uber, and then get yourself to the park and be in the park, so that even if you can't hike it, you can be there and you can see the nature and smell the smells and see the people and feel the fresh air, right? That we have to find a way to continue to participate in the world, even if we have to modify it a bit, so that we can still feel like we're a part of it, rather than we've lost that world we were a part of and now we're indoors and we've lost everything. That's when you become hopeless, is when it feels like your life is just about loss and it's only going to get worse. It's never going to get better. Hopelessness is the key symptom that leads to depression and suicidality, right? Why even try if there's nothing but loss? So she's going to need help out of that hole, and she's really lucky to have you. And that would be my recommendations. My protocol is the best thing she can do. Will it give her back everything she lost? I don't know. I'm not going to promise that, because I don't know. First of all, I don't even know what she's lost. I don't know how far along she is. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is it will get her as healthy as she can get. It can stop the progression, which is really important. And if she has newer lesions, we've seen those get reversed, even from people who've never met me. I showed that video from that woman in Japan who was able to reverse lesion off her MRI and get her symptoms to go away, her most recent symptoms. And she just followed along from my Goodbye Autoimmune Disease book and my free content online, and she did it. So there's a lot of hope, and it's the best thing she can do. But she's got to get this on board. She's got to get this on board, and she's going to need some help with that. So that's what I recommend. In my rapid recovery group, that's what I work on. But I would only recommend something like that if she felt ready to do something like that. The last thing you'd want to do is have her spend the money, or you spend the money and then she's there, but she's too depressed to interact. And then it just feels like another waste. But if she's actually like, you know what, I'm going to do everything I can to get it back, I just need the right coaches, then the group is a good idea, because there's a mental health curriculum in the group. So every day you work on your nutrition and your mental health. Every day you have to watch videos with me every single day to keep your mindset going, to interpret what's going on with you, to make sure that you are staying with your why and you're doing your letting go and all that stuff. So that's every single day within the group. It's part of the curriculum and assignments to help them through all that. So if that's something that she actually wanted, that would be the right fit for her, because I think she's going to need daily support with the mental health, the community, and the right community of people who are healing and have hope, rather than, communities of people who feel like there's no hope ahead. So I hope those suggestions help, and I hope she's doing better soon. She's got a good friend in you. All right, let me see. All right. Okay. So Tammy, hi, Dr. G. I have ankylosing spondylitis and celiac disease. I've been following the protocol for almost 3 weeks. Is it normal to have additional joint swell with hypernourishing? Thank you. Okay. So I don't know which Okay, so you're doing Goodbye Lupus protocol. Okay. It is normal within the first week or so, like I said, to have some symptoms pipe up that could be from detox. But at the 3-week mark, you said almost 3 weeks. So after 2 weeks, usually detox symptoms are getting better. But that is in people who are working with me, like in rapid recovery, where I'm watching what they're doing and making sure they get it right. I don't know what you've been doing for the past 2.5 weeks. So I don't know if like right now you're finally getting into your detox period because you're finally fully on the plan or not. But in general, no, after the detox period passes, then things like swelling usually get better. Now, if that is a symptom that tends to come and go, it will still come and go in the early, 3 weeks is really early, right? So it'll still come and go early on, but you'll find over time it comes less and it's less severe until it eventually stops coming, right? So it's not abnormal to continue to have symptoms when you're 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks into the program. Of course, most people are still going to have symptoms when it's a matter of days into the program. But if you're saying that it's increasing, then check for food sensitivity, but also it could just be your beginning of detox, depending on how well you did with your start. But overall, you're on the right track using this protocol for both of those diagnoses. You should be feeling a lot better soon. All right. Let me see here. All right. Trish F, it's time to make an appointment with me. If you're struggling for 3 months and you're not getting better, then I recommend you either join the group in March. Joining the group would be best. If you've got kidney disease and you're trying on your own and you're not getting better, the group is the best investment you can make, because let's make sure you got it right and get you better. At minimum, though, make an appointment with me so I can look at what you're doing and at least write out a plan for you to stick with. But if you're struggling for 3 months and you're not getting a change in your kidney function, don't wait longer. Make an appointment or do a protocol with me as quickly as possible so we can get you results. All right, let's see here. Sorry, I had to respond to that. A lot of people ask about fasting. Check my social media. I just posted a video about it from the last Q&A, I think 2 days ago. Let me see here. So I have to weed through 2 people are giving each other advice here. All right. Here we go from YouTube. Is edamame, tofu, and tempeh allowed on the healing protocol? So it really depends. Definitely yes in the hypernourishment protocol. Goodbye Lupus protocol, it doesn't contribute to the recovery process, okay? So originally when I did it, and even when I was teaching it, it included things like edamame and tofu, and it works really well. But then as I expanded, I've now had over 1,000 people even just do rapid recovery. Like I've seen so many people. Some people don't do well with tofu and edamame. Some people have never had that in their life and they actually are sensitive to it or allergic to it. So I took it out because I don't want a red herring in there, right? I don't want there to be something that's not actually helping them heal that might actually be interfering with their recovery. So if you were doing rapid recovery or something with me, I would not include it. But if you're working on your own and you want to try it, you're welcome to try it to see how it works. All right. Let me see here. Okay. All right. Let me see the time. All right. We can get another go around here. Let's get Instagram. All right. Warsani, good question. Does your system work for eating disorder too? Anorexia, for example. So I wouldn't say necessarily that it works for it. Like it's not that it cures an eating disorder. I have had people with anorexia and bulimia and disorders with overeating do my programs with me, and they have found it to be a healing experience. And I think it's mostly because I help them change the way they look at food. People with eating disorders, so with anorexia and bulimia, they're looking at food as a source of calories and a source of fatness. Right? They're afraid of food because they're afraid of getting fat. So with those folks, helping them understand that not every food turns into fat. And there are foods that turns into cells. There are foods that turns into hormones that you need. There's foods that turn into your immune system. And none of those foods happen to turn into body fat. They start to feel safe. And especially as they work with me and realize that they can have pounds of raw vegetables, omega-3s, all this stuff, and they do not get any fat gain, they start to learn that you can eat food and be safe. You can feel a full stomach and not be getting fatter. And so when they can break through the triggers of those symptoms, because there are a lot of folks, once they feel full, they get distressed, right? Because that's a signal that they've overeaten and they're going to get fat. But as they come to feel less fearful over those symptoms and less fearful about food, it can help them then with their recovery and with their step down, because now they understand that food is not one dimensional and they're still in control, right? They do have control over their lives, but they can control themselves in a way that actually optimizes health rather than controlling and limiting their life in a way that's killing them. So there's more of a rehabilitation process in understanding food. For people with overeating disorder, there's also a real change that happens usually in my programs, because number one, you can overeat vegetables. You can eat till you are so full you got to open up your pants, and it's okay. You didn't harm yourself. You actually just gave yourself more nourishment, so you don't have to berate yourself or feel bad about yourself. Again, that full feeling is not a reason for shame anymore. Two, we have to work with them on another source of dopamine, because when people are overeating, it has nothing to do with body fat. It has everything to do with feeding their emotions and addiction to high levels of dopamine that they get from toxic eating, like fast foods and things. So when we work with them on having alternative ways to nourish their spirit and to get dopamine and norepinephrine, they can naturally drift towards using those methods to get their happiness or relieve their stress rather than food. And when we, in our rapid recovery system, they have daily support, kind of like a sponsor, right? So they have daily support where we work with them a lot on not feeling shame around your eating. If you mess up, okay, so what? Forgive yourself. Let's figure out why you were triggered, and let's come up with a new game plan for how you can treat that trigger without using food. And what they tend to do too is the overeaters, especially, even when they do binge, they're no longer binging on McDonald's. They have potatoes or something. And it's like, hey, you just did harm reduction. Like you didn't hurt yourself the way you used to. And you can feel proud of yourself for that you didn't choose as harmful of a choice as you would have before. You chose something that wouldn't make you sick, right? That maybe it's against your ultimate goal, but it's not the same. So we really work on celebration and praise, shame reduction, and finding ways to replace the high. So in those ways, and especially, I am a psychiatrist as well. So I've worked with a lot of people with trauma. I'm a trauma specialist. I've worked with a lot of people with disordered eating as well. And so I'm able to understand where they're coming from. So I would not say, so as a summary, I don't think that the Goodbye Lupus protocol, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol in and of itself cures eating disorders. But I believe that people who have joined rapid recovery with those disorders, they do get better because of all of those things, that we change the way they think about food, the way they feel about food, the way they use food, either for control or for a high, the way they treat themselves and love themselves and accept themselves. All of those things help them overcome those eating disorders. So I think it's a combination of all of those things that can be really beneficial. But I do think anyone who has an eating disorder should reach out to me to see if it's really appropriate for them versus doing something separately, individually, that's catered to their issues. All right, good question. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. People are having an argument about fat on YouTube. Let's see what's going on here. I think I missed the first question that was asked, but there's a whole thing going on here. I have also made a lot of videos about fats that are on my YouTube as well, if you want to learn and understand them. And how to know whether something is harmful versus helpful. You can't put an entire category in the good or bad area. There are fats that are important and necessary for health, like omega-3 fatty acids, for example. They're essential for your brain, your nervous system, your immune system, right? And then there's fats that are harmful for you, like saturated fats and animal fats. So you gotta know specifically what you're talking about. Anybody who tends to generalize, I don't trust that. I need to, I don't generalize. I'm talking, my specialty is understanding the cellular impact of nutrition on cellular function, cellular repair, cellular communication, immune function. And there are fats that help. There are fats that hurt. There are fats that aren't even involved. Same with weight gain. So it's just a really important thing to make sure that you're not overgeneralizing, because that's not to anybody's benefit, really. Okay, let's see here. All right, one more from Instagram. Yeah, I can't find the origin of the fat dispute, but there's something going on there. Let's see here. JT, do you recommend using hemp seeds as anti-inflammatory? No, I don't. Hemp seeds are fine for a step down. They're fine for general health. They're fine if you're hypernourishing. But if you're trying to rapidly change your omega-3 to 6 ratio, you want to take those out because they're much higher in omega-6 than omega-3. All right, let's see here. Let's find a Facebook one. All right, Adriana, are protein shakes good for you when you're doing the Goodbye Lupus protocol? I'm trying to gain my weight back. Absolutely not. They are processed powders, and that is not good for your health. Work on getting rid of the lupus first. Work on weight gain second. Weight gain's easy. All right, you can build muscle. You can use my husband's book, Miracle Metabolism, muscle building, all that. Simple once you're healthy. But getting rid of lupus, that's the hard part. Do that first. All right, your weight will stabilize as long as you're eating enough and you're doing everything right. Your weight will stabilize, and the only weight you'll lose will be body fat, maybe some glycogen, which is replaced the first day you start adding other foods. But do not do protein powders while you're in the Goodbye Lupus protocol. You sabotage yourself. Okay, and Insta. Hold on, let's find a good Insta question here. All right, a lot of you guys not loving on yourself. Can you do Botox when you have rheumatoid arthritis? Can you? Maybe. I don't recommend it. As you can tell, I'm one for natural aging. See, I got look at all my lines. Look at this. Look at this. I earned every one of these from all the smiling I do. It's all mine. Oh, look, that's all the questions I ask. I recommend that you just take amazing care of yourself and love your face. So if you see smile lines, it means you've been smiling and you had a good life. If you've got frown lines, you've been through some stuff and you're still here. I don't know. So I don't know what the effect will be on rheumatoid arthritis. Most likely there's not an effect, but I'm guessing because I haven't tested it. Most people come to me with rheumatoid arthritis. I'm trying to save them from severe debilitating pain and fatigue and exhaustion. I'm just not really into the superficial part of it. Do I love, enjoying making yourself look in a way that makes you happy? Yes. I find putting on eyeshadow to be like morning meditation. It's fun. All right. Enjoy it. You like doing your hair. Fun. Great. But when it comes to injecting nerve paralytics or nerve poisons in my body, I feel like I've gotten so far. I just don't want to do that. Notice on my birthday, I didn't jump out of a plane. I did indoor skydiving with a wind tunnel where it was perfectly controlled and there was no risk to me. I figure if I already beat lupus, I don't want to push my luck. I'm not going to push my luck. I'm not going to do anything that could possibly harm me because I'm ahead of the game now. And I'm just going to love the body I've got. So I know it's not what you asked, but my advice is just if you take great care of your health and your skin by nourishing yourself well, your skin will look good at any age. I'm 46 years old. I have fine lines, but people don't notice them right away because I also have really healthy looking skin, right? Because I'm nourished and I'm healthy. So just be grateful. That's one thing that being told I had 6 months to live at 16 has done for me is that I feel grateful for every day I wake up. And it's every day I wake up, I'm still here, beating the odds, # beating the odds, right? Just let yourself be and start speaking lovingly to all those fine lines instead of getting mad at them. Do not believe those folks in the offices that are telling you that you have to start Botox as a preventative in your 20s. Your face tells a story of your life and it's okay. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I think. Anyway, that's my opinion. And I know it's not what you asked for, so I'm sorry. I know you just want to know if you can get Botox, but I just feel so strongly about doing everything we can to love ourselves and take care of ourselves rather than judge and condemn ourselves or tell ourselves we're not enough. You are, and you don't need to do that. But anyway, I don't know is the answer. Maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it won't. But my priority is reversing that rheumatoid arthritis. So you can say, now that I used to have rheumatoid arthritis, should I worry about it? And you'll probably get the same preachy answer, because I just think that it's not necessary. Anyway, I'm hoping that changes. I think that aging is a beautiful thing. And all those of us that are aging, we're lucky to be doing it, because the alternative is not one that I want. Anyway, the lecture is over. And I don't mean to be one of those preachy girl gracefully people. I just, like I said, I'm coming from a place of someone who spent much of my life just trying to survive, just trying to push through each day in spite of pain and fatigue and fevers and migraines and all the medicines I was drowning under. My mom just reminded me that I had an AP test on a Monday after getting chemo on a Friday. I don't even remember that. Like, I spent so much of my life in survival mode. Now that I'm well, I just don't want to push that. Maybe I'll get a facial, but no, I'm not getting anything injected. Like, I'm just going to keep this body in the best shape I can and take as many years as I got. And I hope that you do the same. Love yourself, because that's really what healing's about. Healing is about loving yourself enough to beat peer pressure, loving yourself enough to say no, even if somebody makes something with the goodness in their heart, but it's not on the plan that you have for yourself. Loving yourself means taking care of yourself every single day, no matter what, and no matter what anyone says to you, no matter what your mood is, that you take care of yourself. Loving yourself means prioritizing yourself, that you plan your day, your work, your priorities for your kids, everything else around yourself and what you need, rather than hoping you have time to take care of yourself at the end of the day. If you want to be healthy, you've got to learn how to truly love yourself. I have stuff about that in my book, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease. It's like the biggest focus of my groups. People think they're coming in so I can criticize their food. And what I'm really doing is reprogramming that this is this biggest act of love you can ever give yourself, to say that I am worthy of the time and effort and cost that it takes, and the planning that it takes to get myself healthy, because I'm worthy and I deserve to have that life that I want, to live and to give and to love and do all the things that we came here to do. So I hope that that's a signal to you to start doing that this isn't a punishment for being sick, eating healthy. No, this is finally maybe the first act of truly loving yourself and your body in the way that you really were meant to. So I hope that helps you guys. If you need more information, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, there's a learn more button. On YouTube, it's at the bottom of most of my videos, is that link tree thing. Maybe I should just add it to this. Otherwise, goodbyelupus.com. And I do have a group March 17th for people looking for rapid recovery. It's half full now, but there's still spots for those of you who know that you need this kind of a talk every day. And for the rest of you who are here for the free content and questions, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sharing it. And I will see you next week. Okay. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye to Instagram. Bye everybody over at YouTube and Facebook.